us know in the chat where you're tuning in from, but big waves out there. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. One of the downsides of our industry is I never know the day of the week. So I wait for you guys to tell me what day it is, and then we move forward. And you'd think I'd get grounded on Sunday. Like there's only one day I go typically that I go to church. So I should probably know by Monday, but it's already gone. So thank you for letting me know the day of the week. So good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a fantastic day so far. And we're going to talk today about thought. And this week's words are all courtesy of Melissa Jackson. So hopefully we get her on here because it's all from her, the words this week, and they were all good ones. So excited for it. So last week we had some Pat Klepper. This week we're going to have some Melissa Jackson. Anybody else that wants to contribute, feel free. We're always grateful. But the word is thought. So an idea or opinion produced by thinking or occurring suddenly in the mind. I feel like most of my thoughts occur suddenly in the mind. Maybe not too much backstory, but that's okay. So your thoughts determine your actions, and your actions determine your results. And you cannot have a positive life with a negative mind. That's Joyce Meyer. And thought both of those were super, super powerful. Beautiful thoughts build a beautiful soul. Positive thinking will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. That's Zig Ziglar. And, so we all know, right? Oh, well, I need to think positively. I need to think positively. I need to think positively. But unfortunately, at least in my head, I don't always feel like I have control of these thoughts. Like they go in some crazy directions and I'm like, okay, woman, the likelihood of that scenario is so low. Like maybe we can redirect, but it can be hard. And all I could think about is, has anybody else on here had a dream where your significant other does something like super bad, right? Like whatever it may be. Like maybe you dream that they like kicked your dog, or I don't know, stole all the Q-tips. I have no idea. Like it could be the most ridiculous thing, or bigger things, whatever. But you wake up and you look over and you're like, oh, I'd elbow them if I could, right? Like you are spitting mad at this human for what they did in your thoughts, right? In your imagination, they are now grounded. And I can't be the only one, because I've seen memes about this. So I cannot be the only one that has had this experience. But the crazy thing is that our emotions are 100% in that moment being controlled by our thoughts that are even imaginary. So it's even like one step beyond like when we're awake, but we do the same dang thing throughout our day, all day long. Our experiences, our conversations, everything are ruled by our thoughts of what's going on in the back of our mind. So how can we take control of those thoughts? So I was going to say of the crazy, but maybe that's just for me. But how do we take control of those thoughts that are all going on in our head? First of all, be aware of them, right? So, sometimes we can just go through our day and we don't even realize that we're having negative thoughts, that it's not reality. So first of all, be prepared, know that negative thoughts are going to happen, and just be ready to notice them. Like, oh, that was just a negative thought. Like, it's okay that my bird feeder's empty. Like the birds aren't going to start flying through my windows or something. Like we'll just fill them up, right? So just realize, okay, that's just a negative thought. It's okay. Next is name it. So what negative thoughts plague you? So maybe you are a worrier, or maybe, you have some doubt. I don't know. I can't even think right now, but name them. So if you think about it, we've all heard some of these, like negative Nelly. I can't say negative Nancy anymore, because if you guys have met Nancy on here, she's the most positive human to exist. But negative Nelly, or the green-eyed monster, right? So if you have this negative thought, give it a name. If you've got this thought that just keeps, doubtful Debbie, or I don't know what it could be for you, but just come up with a way to name it. So you can say, oh, that green-eyed monster is visiting the Rosser household again. We're going to shoo him off because we don't need him in this house, right? So whatever it may be, give it a name. And then the third step is to erase it and replace it. So find a replacement or a phrase that stops the negative cyclone. So, one of the things that I think of here is if I ever have to speak in front of a room. So many of you have had the absolute privilege of seeing Andrea get up in front of the room. And Andrea is the most anxious human talking in front of people, right? Like you can probably hear it right now. So when I'm about to get up into a room, I'm sweating, I'm a nervous wreck. Doesn't matter if there's 2 people or 200 people or 2 million people, I am a nervous wreck regardless. So what I need to do in that moment, because our body doesn't necessarily know, is to say, I'm not anxious. I am excited. I am so excited to speak with these people today. I am so excited. I am going to pray that I bless somebody this morning, right? So take that negative thought, whatever it is, and find something that can feel kind of the same in your body, or maybe it's the opposite, but erase the negative one and work really hard to replace it with a more positive thought. And then number 4 is do a reality check. So we all, every single one of us, believe what we think. I am always right inside my head until somebody else outside my head proves me wrong. So we believe it, when in reality, that's just a movie that I've created, right? So, well, I'll say a silly one. Yesterday, the kids absolutely did not lock the garage. And one step further, the door was left open. So if you were in the Muscle Shoals area and you needed some groceries, I don't know what else you could have needed that I have here, you absolutely could have walked in. And we don't lock that world. Now, we don't lock the door from the garage into the house because it sticks a little bit. And I'm paranoid that I'm not gonna be able to get out if I need to. So you could have just moseyed on in. So my thoughts this morning were, oh my gosh, we probably had 18 people in this house. Nobody was here, right? Just the people that live here. So really didn't have too much to worry about. My thought should have been, oh, good. I'm so glad that nobody decided to rob us last night. But typically I can kind of go to a negative place. So do that reality check and say, oh, well, that's not actually what's happening. So let's move on. And then try to be present. So when we get caught up in this negative thought whirlwind, recognize it and then pay attention to what you're doing in this moment. So, right now I could be worrying about, paying quarterly taxes, or I can be present talking to you guys right here. So just trying to redirect, refocus on this moment and not worry about what possibly could come. And then lastly, realize it's a choice. So I can choose to stay in that little negative thought spiral, or I can choose to try to snap myself out of it. So we get to choose how long it stays in our mind. Sometimes it's more of a battle, but just remember that it's up to us. So thank you, Myra. I was chatty this morning, but the floor is yours.
That was great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thought, God, don't they torture us? Oh my Lord, they torture us. Our thoughts are simply just objects of the mind, and here's the thing. I don't ever mean to go down a deep hole when I'm researching for these words, but I got way down in a deep hole today researching, talking about the brain and the neurons. And I'm like, nobody wants to hear about all that on Coach's Corner, but it was pretty interesting. So, just like we have these perceptions and feelings and ideas, they're just objects in our mind, through their perspective. Thoughts are nothing but passing clouds. Now think about this. They're nothing but passing clouds, and there's nothing you should take personally about them. Just let them pass like those beautiful clouds. So when we have negative thoughts, what's causing this? Everybody on here knows the answer to this. It's probably what? Overthinking. That's probably what it is. Just simply overthinking. As we overthink, we tend to start having all of these unwanted thoughts. When this happens, try a few of these things that I'm fixing to share with you to do a little deep cleaning in that mind. So start writing. I hadn't talked about journaling in a while, but that's something I do a lot. Keep a journal. Write things down that you're trying to work through. Write them down. Then another one is music. Put on some good music when you're having some of these troubling thoughts, and, get in a positive way. Get you some positive music and just go, let it rip. And then here's another thing that we probably could all do a better job of is get more sleep. You know, truly, we need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. If we want to function at the highest level possible, we need 6 to 8 hours. And I've been guilty of getting 4 hours lately. Because guess what? My thoughts, if I open up my eyes for anything, my thoughts immediately run. So that's just something that we can all do a better job of. You know, and like Andrea said, you know, get outside and walk. You know, great podcast, motivational podcast. Fill your head and thoughts with positive things. And then here's another thing that I really like to do. All of us have several friends, but we all have that really, really close friend or two that we can share our heart with, tell them anything. Talk to that friend and let them be that sounding board. And they can help you get through all these unwanted thoughts, because your true friends like this are going to be totally honest with you. And they're going to help share things that they may see or pick up. Probably the best way to change our thoughts is to just become conscious of them. You know, here's an example. Perfect. How many of us said, oh my gosh, my life is so hard? Guilty. We need to shift that thought immediately. Life is hard, and I continue to experience joy every day, or life is a blast and a challenge. It makes me stronger. Have you ever chose to do that? You can say life's hard, then add that but, and add the positivity on the end of it. You know, if we change our thoughts, we form new pathways in our brain, which many in turn would change our life experience. We'll end with just a few statements that are very bold and true. So stick with me the next 30 seconds. We live in a world of thought. Our thoughts create our experiences, and thus we experience what we think. It is the quality of our thoughts then that create the quality of our life. You know, the real problem is not the problem. The real problem is how we think about our problem. We're not our circumstances. We are what we think of our circumstances. This quote I'll end with to leave with you today on this great Monday morning. Thoughts have energy. Make sure your thoughts are positive and powerful. Thoughts have energy. And you, as Andrea said about the choices, it is your choice if you want them to be positive and powerful or negative. So I challenge you to really work on your thoughts today. Have a terrific day. And I love you guys. See you tomorrow.
Great message, Myra. Loved it so much. So hope you guys have a great Monday. Can't wait to see you back throughout the week. Love you.
Bye, guys.
Fantastic work, Myra.